Hey, welcome to Mike's Trains and thanks for joining me for another video. This is the next part in the series of getting all this done. And what I want to do this week is I want to start setting in this whole backdrop here. Um, Obviously from last week, this is all done. I've pulled off the weights. And you're probably noticing that this looks a little different back here. In the previous videos, you may remember back, I don't know if you do or not, but this wall was very textured, okay? And I can't have that because it's going to kind of ruin the look that I'm going for. So what I did was I gave it a quick sand, and then I filled with joint compound over. So now this just needs a sanding, smoothed out sanding, and then I can repaint it blue, and we're going to start adding the backdrop to it. Now, for the backdrop, what I want to do, and I'll take you upstairs and show you how I'm going to do it, but what's going to happen is up on the top up here, so we have this building here, and I'll take you around the other side and show you the view from the other side. But this, I need to connect that building on the front side of the train station to the back side here, right? It's all got to get connected together. So when you come from the front of the train station, you're walking around, everything is connected and it goes together and it all flows together nicely. But let me bring you around the front side so you can get just to refresh your memory as to what exactly I'm doing. Okay, so now on the front side, you can see, let me see if I got something that so I can get my hand in there without getting my whole hand up in there. So on the front side, so we have the road here. All right, so we have this road here, it goes up into the backdrop. We've got this building right here. And in this building, you have the driveway here that connects the train station to the wall, and everything connects up rather nicely. I like how that all came out. But we need to tie this part of the scenery here to the back of the train station so that everything goes together, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a wall right to the edge of this building, probably right about here. We're going to run a wall or a fence straight back, all right? And I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that, but that's how I'm going to connect the front side here to the back side. So that when you come around to the back side over here, that fence will come down here and it will connect, into here. Everything will flow straight down, and then we'll have backdrop that's going to go here, and then another backdrop that's going to go here. Now, I'd mentioned layered backdrops, and I've done several of those. You can look back through my videos if you want to see how I did those. I'm not going to do too much layered stuff in here. It's just going to be a straightforward. I'm doing photo backdrops again. Yeah, so why don't we head upstairs to the workbench and I'll show you how we're going to take care of. Let's start with that fence up there, and then we'll move over to this backdrop that's going to go here. All right, so we're on the computer now, and I'm going to start this right from the beginning. What I want to do is the fence that's going to go between the train station and that apartment building that we were talked about earlier. And what I did was I went online and I found an image of a fence. I just did a search for wooden stockade fence, privacy fence, whatever you want to call it. I just did a search and I set it to images. And I searched through and I found this. All right. So with this image, I put it in my photo editor. I happen to use Paint Shop. I don't use Photoshop. I use Paint Shop. And I cropped this image across the bottom. And then I cropped the sides and the top. I took the top off. And that gave us this image right here. All right. And I wanted this cement wall down here because I thought it would be cool. I thought it would look really good as a divider between the train station and then the background building that's there. It would give a little bit of, I thought we could add a little bit of depth, and it's totally plausible. And if I put this at say I make this in my program, my software, if I make this about 4 feet, and then this is going to be about 7 to 8 feet, right? It gives us a nice decent wall and a nice separation between the two. So all that being said, so now we have our image. What I'm going to do is I have this, and you've seen me, if you've seen any of my videos, you've seen me use this before. This is Model Builder software. I'll put a link to it in the description under the video. So if you're interested in getting it, go ahead and get it. It's not exactly the cheapest program you could want. I like it because it makes resizing images so much easier. But just so you know, I don't get anything from these people. I bought the program. I don't get anything from them by doing this. So I'm just doing this, just showing you what I do. So in here, I'm going to open Model Builder. I'm going to set it over here to 1/160th, right here, the scale. Okay, and that's going to set everything to the right scaling when we get into the project. So I'm going to new project. So this is the this is what it looks like. Okay, now I'm also going to change the units here, and I want English actual feet. So this is N scale feet. It's an N scale ruler going this way and an N scale ruler going this way. Okay. I think the other thing I need to do, I think I might have already done it, but project page setup. So this shows your page going up and down. Okay. We're going to be building across, back and forth from the top. So it's only 8.5 across by 11 long. So I'm going to change this to landscape. Okay. And then that's going to make it 11.5 across the top. So we're going to click OK. So now when you look, and you look at our dimensions up here, that goes to 75 feet. But when I slide the slider across, we're up to 135 feet maybe, all the way across, which I know is the full length of a 11-inch page. So now I want to bring in our fence picture. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to click import, and here's the new fence picture. I'm going to open it, and I'm going to drop it here. I'm going to line it up to the top, and then I'm just going to stretch it down this way. So this whole thing is about 12 feet. So I'm going to go a little bit about 12 feet, and then I'm going to stretch this out until it looks about right, which is going to give us about 35 feet. Like that. So that's the first section of fence. Now I need down there, and I know because I measured, I need about 100 feet. Okay. So then I'm going to take this, I'm going to right click and go to duplicate, and it just makes another one. Okay. And now I'm going to set this right on top of that one, just past the post. I'm going to do it like this, and I'm just going to line them up best I can, like that. And then I'm going to duplicate again, and I'm just going to keep going across the page. Alright, we're just going to line those up. Now you can see it's a little bit off right here, but I promise you it's really not going to matter, because once this prints in the scale that you need, it really doesn't matter. So now I want to move this down on the page, because if you look at it, our posts are heading up into the sky, right? They're getting higher and higher, and they're getting cut off. So the way you would do that, you move these all as one. I'm going to hit Control, and I'm going to click, 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 and then you can move these as one. See? Like that. And that's your section of fence. And now when you scroll across, everything is on the page where it needs to be. All right, so now from here, you just come over here, and then you print. You just go print, and then you set up your printer, and you go ahead and print it. Now I'm not going to print it because I've already done that. I just wanted to show you how I got where I am. All right, so I'm going to close this. And we're going to go to the desktop and we're going to start working the piece that I printed. All right, so here we are on the desktop, and here's the section of fence that I printed. And if I take my N scale ruler, you can see that, you know, we did print, and it's a little over 12 feet. And the cement wall is just about 4 feet tall, right? So that's what we needed. Now what I want to do, because this is going to mount standing up, right? So this is going to go like this. This is photo paper that I printed on, by the way. It's matte photo paper. It is kind of thick, but we need to be able to keep this so it doesn't wobble and warp up over time. And I've also cut this to the length that I need. What I want to do is I want to put a backing on this to keep it nice and straight. Oh, and the other thing I should say is I also took my X-Acto knife here and I cut right along the top of the fence, and I cut up and around the caps on each one of these. So that's why you don't see any of the blue in there. And the tops of the caps are all still there. And then I cut off the extra on each end for the fence post. And that's where we're at now. Now I did also cut this. When I cut the top, I didn't cut the cement wall back. When I cut off the fence post, after the fence post, I cut out, and then I cut down along the fence post, and I left the cement wall long. And that's so that I can bend this paper, I can fold it down over the edge of the styrene right here, so that I get a nice edge. This cement edge goes right around the corner of the styrene, so the cement wall, when you're looking at it from the edge, it's the edge of the wall. That's the only thing that I've done so far. So what I want to do now is I want to measure how big this wall is, and I want to cut a piece of styrene that's going to go from the bottom to just below the top. All right. So what I need is a piece that is about 3/4 wide. So I'm gonna go on I got a piece of styrene here, and this is 60 thousandths. It's good and thick, and yeah, this is scrap from my scrap bin. This is from roads that I've cut up. So what I want is I want a 3/4 inch strip, and I know this piece is definitely long enough, right? So let's measure this up. So now we have our sheet of styrene, and then this is going to go on the back. So you can't see it behind there, right? But it gives us a nice solid base to put this on, so that it's going to stick, and it's always going to be solid and stand up straight. The other thing I want to do is down at this end, all right, because I want the wall here to bend around the edge of the styrene. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on here like this, where it goes, and I'm just going to mark the edge of the wall right here. Okay. Just like that. So now I can lay this up on top, and the photo paper will go right around the edge of the styrene like that, and it gives us a nice edge that actually carries our cement wall around. We don't need to worry about the backside. Doesn't matter. Nobody's ever going to see it. All right, and we're not going to worry about the post. The post is good right where it is. All right. So now we need to cut our length, which is right here. Alright, so now we have this, and this is the right length, and it's the right everything, so now we're ready to go. But before I glue anything onto this, I just want to go around the edges. These edges can have raised sides on them. All right, now we're ready to glue this together. And to do this, to hold this on there, what am I going to use? Well, I think I'm going to try some of this. I'm going to try something new. I have this Aleene's Turbo Tacky Glue. I think this will work. The only thing I'm going to need to do is we're going to need to spread this around somehow. All right. And we have one more thing to do to this. Now I also want to add a section on the back end that's going to go like this, and it's going to meet the wall. All right. But I don't know how big that needs to be yet, so I'm going to keep this to the side, and we'll come back later, and then after I measure, and then we can figure out how much we need. So we're going to hold that to the side, and we're going to wait until we know exactly what we need. So let's... The other thing I want to add to this, there's one more piece I need to put on here because we need a gluing surface, right? We need something that's gonna, where we can actually tack this to the layout. And what I'm going to use is this 90-degree angle styrene. And I'm just going to put, I'm not going to cover the whole length of it, but I'm going to put this on the edge right here like this. Just make sure our wall folds over here nicely. And now we have a fence that stands on its own. Easy peasy, gets done just like that. And that's it. So this is ready to go. We can put that to the side. That's pretty much ready for mounting into that section for the train station. All right. This is the backdrop that's going to go behind our freight house. And I picked this because I wanted it to be a little bit industrial, but I wanted it to be old, where, you know, you have a farm across the street. Now, I don't know where you guys live. I can't speak to that. But where I live, there are areas like this, okay, where there's buildings like this, and then across the street or further down the road, there is farmland, there is stuff like that. So, I mean, they do coexist where I live. And I picked this one specifically because it has a big chain link fence that goes right across the edge here, and then everything is behind the chain link fence. So the idea I had was to put this there, and then we can put ground cover in front of the chain link fence, maybe some trees in front of this, and that would separate our freight house from the backdrop in the back. But that's the thinking here, and this covers that whole length between where that mirror is on the wall all the way back to the retaining wall. That's this. Now I was gonna add a layer behind this of trees behind this, but I started thinking about it, and I was looking at it, and I think it just becomes an overkill. I don't want to do that. It makes it into something that it's not, and it turns it into something, and I don't know. I don't want to go there. So I'm going to leave it as is, just like this on the wall. This is also multi-piece. So you got 1 image, 2 image, and 3 images. There are 3 here. I'm going to show you how I got this. So let's go back onto the computer. All right, so we're back on the computer, and I'll put up the actual name of the CDs on the screen so you can see it. But I've copied all the CDs to my computer, so I don't have to mess with the CDs anymore. So I have 6 volumes, volumes 1 through 6. Okay, so I found the one that I'm looking for. So this was in here. So it's volumes 1 through 5, and it's called Large Structures and Industries. And if you look in here, I go to previews, right? So we're going to go in here, and these are all different backdrops that I can get. And this is the one that I want. All right, this is the one I printed. And you can see when we look back at the backdrop, some of this isn't here. I eliminated this whole section on the side here. We don't want that. So in order to print this, it tells you here that it's 4 parts. It's 8 inches high by 42 wide. These dimensions are in HO scale. All right, they do those in HO scale. So you have to cut this in half for N scale. Okay, so in order to print this, so I see the name is Cease. So then you go here, and then you go here. This is the picture right here. So these are all the parts, okay? And that's the whole image. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. All right, but you have to print them all, even though I cut off this section right here. Part of that building is right here on the edge, so I need to get rid of that. So I need to print all 4 parts, and then all I do is go here. We can go to print up here, and I'm going to print 2 per page. So if you printed these 1 per page, it's going to give me the full size image. If you print 2 per page, it half sizes it, and if you print 4 per page, it half sizes it 1 more time. So that would be more like an N scale, I suppose. So I do it like this. Now, I've already done it. The only thing for me I have to uncheck, because I've messed this a few times, print on both sides of the paper. It's really not helpful. So you get rid of that, and that's it. And then you just print it, and I print these on photo paper. So let's go back to the desktop, back to our workbench, and let's talk about what we've got going on. Okay, so now I showed you how I got this image. So once I printed the images, I cut them out, and I taped them together on the back with tape, just regular Scotch tape. Match them up good, and that's where we are with this. Okay, now all I need to do is I'm going to use some because I'm not going to show this I'm not going to do this on video when I put this on, but I'm going to tell you how I'm going to do it, and then once it's on, I'll show you the end result. But I'm going to use this. Right, this is Super 77. This stuff works great. Really good stuff. 3M Super 77. So what I'll do is I'll lay this over like this, and I'll do 2 or 3 coats of it. I'll spray it on here, and then we'll let it sit for, I don't know, a minute. You don't want it to be wet, right? You just want it to be a little tacky. It's got to be sort of kind of like dry. And this works like a contact adhesive, okay? And then you just take it and you set it to the wall and you press it on really good. And that's it. That's all there is to it, and then it's done. All right, so that's how that's going to get done. And then that wall will be done. And then we have this that's going to go up on the top, and that'll be done. And then we only have the little center section. All right, so now we're back down to layout, and I've actually put everything, installed it all onto the layout as a full backdrop, and this is what we end up with, and I think it looks pretty good. The only thing left to do now is just start the regular foreground scenery, the ground foam here, the little fence, the chain link that's going to go here, and the rest of it is all done. And I don't know, what do you think? I think I'm pretty happy with it. Oh, and I also ended up doing, I said I wasn't going to do a layered backdrop here, but it looked a little too bare, so I added a tree background there, and I actually took this building backdrop and I put it on a piece of foam core, so it pulls it out from the backdrop just a little bit. It just adds a little bit of depth to it. But that's the only thing that I did that I didn't tell you about when we were upstairs on the workbench. But yeah, so that's it. That's all done. The fence here is installed, and there's the piece in the back that we had talked about having to needing to be put in. And we're all set. Let's see, get you a little closer, maybe like that. And then you can kind of see. So now we just need a chain link fence up there, and everything down here. I think we're looking pretty good. So anyway, that's it. That's all done. And next week we can get into starting all the foreground scenery, the ground foam, the trees, and that kind of stuff can get put in. And we're totally up to that. And we're getting close to done with this whole area here. There's not going to be too much more left to do. So anyway, if you're just watching me for the first time and you haven't subscribed, please, by all means, do subscribe. Love to have you along. I got lots more projects like this coming. Yeah, so until next time, happy modeling.